Hmm. Okay, here we go. Chapter 20. Hudson. I hadn't expected to hear laughter coming from the kitchen. If anything, I thought I'd heard words of anger. Asking Camille for this particular favor would likely add to the list of reasons why I'd end up in hell. But at this point, what other choice did I have? Since Valentina hadn't picked up the phone, she'd had no advance warning of Camille's arrival. I'd been beside myself when I hadn't been able to get in touch with her, nearly screaming at my buddy Tim before bothering to listen to him when he'd mentioned Valentina had been safely tucked away inside the house. Yeah, I was losing my cool very quickly. A fucking hit list. I couldn't care less about myself being on the infamous list, but I also had no doubt Valentina's name was there as well. The wheels were in motion. By now, Worthington had been made aware I had no intentions of backing down. That would push both Delgado and Worthington further on the edge. If only I could figure out the end game. Was it controlling the drug market, or something else altogether? Valentina had no idea how to kloops. Or something else altogether. Valentina had no idea how close she'd come to having the house surrounded by 10 cop cars. Then I'd received her text. I owed their text. I owed Tim a case of scotch, as well as a hefty paycheck for doing me a favor. Although I was going to give Valentina a piece of my mind. When I gave her orders, she was going to follow them or face the consequences. She just didn't seem to understand this wasn't a game to be played. As soon as I stepped foot in the kitchen, I immediately launched into her without even thinking. What in God's name did you think you were doing by not answering your phone? Do you have any idea how worried I was about you? Do you? Do you know that my doors and windows were almost blown out by officers of the law coming to rescue you? Valentina stood with her back toward me, and when she slowly turned around, placing her finger over her lips while nodding towards sweet little Bella, I huffed. Then I allowed my gaze to fall. For a few seconds, I was completely speechless. Valentina was a beautiful woman, whether she was in work clothes that gave me a hunger for barbecue, or in nothing at all. What's up, Rhea? Speechless. Let's see. Valentina was a beautiful... Speechless. Valentina was a beautiful woman, whether she was in work clothes that gave me a hunger for barbecue, or in nothing at all. But in fuck... nothing at all. But seeing her in a dress with low heels had my blood pumping. I'd given Camille... Blood pumping. I'd given Camille a little advice. Oops, nope. Blood pumping. I'd given Camille little advice other than to pick up a few necessities, including some toiletries. In truth, I'd wanted to end the conversation as quickly as possible. Dredging up old memories had been too painful. But I couldn't deny that Camille had excellent taste. Be careful, Judge Armstrong. We have little ears in the room. Valentina's voice was lightly chastising me, but I could tell by the look in her eyes she knew exactly what I was thinking. That I wanted nothing more than to peel away her dress right here. Exhaling, I forced myself to look away, but not before I'd caught Camille's smug look as well. Yes, I'm sorry. I was angry, I managed. You didn't answer my calls. I'm sorry. I won't let that happen again. The moment was much more awkward than it should be. Clearing my throat, I tried to think of something to say. How is the little princess doing? I asked Bella, realizing that Camille was watching me intently. In a shocking moment, Bella ran toward me, throwing her little arms around my legs. Mama said we could go outside when you came home, like before. I crouched down to her level, tweaking her nose until I realized what she'd said. You went out before? Valentina's sigh was heavy. She escaped. Your officer helped me find her. Instead of feeling angry, it felt as if I was reliving the night Camille had lost her entire world all over again. Well, maybe tomorrow, if it's okay with you. I'm going to steal your mommy for a little while. Bella looked up at Valentina in such a loving way that it affected Camille, who turned her face away. Don't worry, baby girl. We'll do something fun tomorrow. What are we doing? Valentina asked, although she noticed Camille's sudden change in demeanor. Okay, Mommy. Bella's disappointment was obvious. I thought we might grab a slice of pizza or something on the way to your apartment, if that's all right with you. I stood, taking a single step closer. Valentina gave me what appeared to be her new friend and knowing look. Let's do that one more time. Step closer. Valentina gave what appeared to be her new friend a knowing look. What in God's name had Camille been telling her? That's fine. Bella already had dinner. Oops, let's say the words. That's fine. Bella already had her. Nope, that's not it. That's fine. Bella already had her dinner. Let me grab my purse and keys. Unless, of course, you'd prefer to break in to just show me. Fuck, come on, get into it. Purse and keys. Unless, of course, you'd prefer to break in just to show me how it's done? Very funny. She winked as she passed by me, but when she squeezed my arm, the shot of electricity was almost alarmingly strong. As soon as Valentina had left the room, Camille said something to Bella that I didn't pay any attention to before walking closer. You know, you really shouldn't get involved. Who said I'm involved? Your body language. It's easy to tell the way you two feel about each other. Don't forget what happened the last time. What happened the last time had nothing to do with trying to protect someone from a heinous killer. Her expression was smug. Maybe not, but the end product could be the same. You just aren't the type of man to allow anyone past your defenses. It's entirely possible Valentina will be confused by your incessant need to right the wrongs of the past with something more along the lines of you caring about her, when we both know you're incapable of doing so. Why don't you cut through the bullshit, Camille? We both know why you obviously warned her about me. You know what happened with Jenny was out of my control. Was it? The hatred in her eyes returned, but only for a split second. She closed her eyes. You're right. I'm sorry, Hudson. But just don't confuse your need to right what happened with the way you're feeling with Valentina. She's a very nice woman. Yes, she is. I didn't have a chance to retort or defend myself any further before Valentina returned. There was no doubt she'd caught a part of the conversation. Fantastic. I'll take that under advisement. I'll be ready when you are, I told the beautiful woman, who was staring at us quizzically. I'm ready. Bella, baby, be good for Camille. She kissed her daughter on the forehead, and by that point, I was already heading to the kitchen door. Taking advice from Camille at this point wasn't on my bucket list, even if she was right. I sucked at anything but my job, and right now, I was even beginning to question that. Once I had Valentina safely inside the car, I took a few seconds before I slipped into the driver's seat. Instantly, I felt a tension that hadn't been there before. I was out of the neighborhood let's try to say that a little better. I was out of the neighborhood and on the interstate before Valentina said anything. Camille is very opinionated, hard-headed, a know-it-all. Valentina laughed. I was going to say very nice, but yes, to all three. Then again, so am I. While twisting my hand around the steering wheel, I nodded. I must agree. She's good at what she does. You don't need to worry about Bella. She'll be safe. I'm not worried about her. What happened with Bella escaping? I forgot to arm the security system, and no, it won't happen again. She slipped out and headed to the beach. I don't need to tell you... I don't need you to tell me what I did was reckless. The tension between us was painful. I wasn't going to, Valentina. You've been through enough. Besides, I doubt Jacob Jones will rear his ugly head for at least a few days. Not after the exchange we'd had. The hit list continued flickering through my mind. I'm also not worried about the Undertaker. Then what are you worried about? I could feel the heat of her luminous eyes staring at me. The crawl of the explosive desire from before literally taking my breath away. Even the perfume she was wearing was dragging my mind into all the dark and filthy places that I shouldn't allow it to go. I'm worried about you. Chuckling, without thinking I placed my hand on her leg, and instantly I heard a slight moan. While low in volume, it was distinct, and my cock shifted hard against my trousers. You don't need to worry about me. I think I do. I don't know what you're doing or how you're trying to protect me because you don't want me to know. That should tell you something, Hudson. You're a man of the law. Don't toss your scruples aside because of one man. You mean one monster. He's not the only one behind what happened. He was and is following orders. She shook her head and stared out the passenger window. Men like him enjoy intimidating all those around him. He'll grow bored and return to his bread and butter with this criminal life. I'd worked with victims and witnesses of heinous crimes for well over a decade. I'd experienced what some psychological experts would call similar stages to what they'd been through. The terror, the helplessness, the shock and disbelief, hope in the system, the anger, and finally, a sense of resolve that allowed them to block out the terrible experience. Valentina was attempting to shove aside the tragic period of her life, to move on. But what she didn't understand was that not all criminal elements were alike. Some went beyond their evil deed, even if planned for days or weeks. Those were the men and women who truly had no souls and no fear of retribution or consequences. Jacob Jones fit into that category, A person's eyes never lied. They highlighted darkness and the lack of any conscience. They laid in wait like predators. The most successful serial killers were the ones who'd learned early on that patience was one of their greatest attributes, or what some might call a skill. Author Summer, hello. A skill. That allowed them to meticulously plan the event. The very moment when they carried out whatever repulsive deed they determined was necessary in their lives. What Jacob was doing was classic, lying in wait, providing a scare for the world around him to see. That placed everyone on edge and pushed them into performing careless behaviors. That's when he'd strike. What could I say to squelch her fears about the person sitting next to her, the one offering her protection? She didn't know me any better than she did the bastard who derailed her life. The only thing I could do was tell her the truths, as I'd believed them for years. I wish I could agree with you, but I've had a number of years to realize that's just not the case. In many cases, the bad guys win. There's much more at stake than you realize. I've always believed in the law, Valentina. Even though you know little about me, I do believe that's something you've come to realize. You could say I have my mother and father to blame. That's a compliment in my mind. She shifted in her seat, but I could tell by the way she was wringing her hands she was listening. My dad was a sergeant in the army, and if there's anything he taught me that had remained with me, driving both me personally and my career, is that if you followed the letter of the law, the truth would always be by your side. Unfortunately, my father was wrong. Did you know how many times I've seen criminals walk free, either because an attorney didn't do their job or a witness was bullied? To steal again or rape another woman, to take children off the streets for human trafficking, or to kill them just because they needed their addictive fix for the day. Monsters no longer kill simply out of necessity or anger. Many do so for the cheer-joy? Or anger. Many do so for the sheer joy of being able to get away with their crimes. I cannot and will no longer be a part of a system that all but forgets about those considered innocent. With no idea what effect my words would have on her, I remained quiet as I navigated the streets, thinking about both my words and the warning Camille had issued. She wasn't wrong, just like the beautiful woman beside me wasn't. Yet neither knew that every experience had ripped away at the very armor Camille had always accused me of locking down around myself. I was a different man. So be it. Is that what happened with Camille? Is that why she walks that razor-thin line of caring about you and hating you? Her question was more apropos than she could realize. Hating you? Her question was more apropos than she could realize. It's complicated. Isn't life? She tilted her head, searching my face as if believing she could find the answers, when I was a master of hiding my emotion. More uncomfortable than before, I twisted my hand on the steering wheel. You're right. She was working a case where there was no doubt the criminal was guilty. He ended up in my courtroom. The prosecuting attorney made a huge mistake that required me to throw out the evidence. I couldn't make any other decision. Their decision. The perpetrator was found not guilty. She never forgave me. Women had an uncanny ability to see through bullshit. I had a feeling that's exactly what Valentina was doing with me, but she let it go. A juror in the trial was killed. I saw that on the news. Oopsies. But she let it go. A juror in the trial was killed. I saw that on the news. The Undertaker's planning on killing all of us, isn't he? The tension within me was mounting. Maybe. I'm sorry you had to find out. As I told you before, I am much stronger than you give me credit for. Please do me one favor and don't lie to me. That's all I ask. Was it the Undertaker? The case is still under investigation. At least that wasn't a lie. However, if you want my gut answer, I'd say yes. He won't stop. Sighing, I knew anything I said would unnerve her. I believe he's interested in retaliation, but he's also sending a message. What that is, I don't know yet. However, there are potentially some people involved with the Delgado cartel who are on the take. Meaning corrupt. When I nodded, she took a deep breath. Understood. What are you going to do with Mr. Jones? Are you going to put him behind bars or kill him? Her question wasn't timid, nor was it filled with fear. Instead, the continued defiance reminded me that there were still good people in this world. In truth, her question shocked the shit out of me. I'm going to ensure he faces the consequences for what he's done by the letter of the law. That's what the man even 6 months before would say. The one glancing in the rearview mirror to ensure we weren't being followed likely would say something else entirely. While I couldn't tell if she was disappointed or relieved by my answer, she was thoughtful as to offering her insight into the man I'd become. What if the law fails us again? Us. The single word was more powerful than almost any others could be. I'll face that when and if it occurs. With a heavy sigh, she returned to silence, where she remained for several minutes. Were you in love? The question came from so far left, I had to process the words. What? Camille, it's obvious you two were close before this case in court. I emphasize were because I could see from the minute she walked in the door she wasn't happy. Call it woman's intuition, but I don't think her strong feelings are all about you needing to perform your duties. What did she say? Essentially that you would break my heart. I assume you broke hers. Not in the way you're thinking. My thoughts drifted to the one... What you're thinking. My thoughts drifted to one of the worst days of my life. Perhaps in some ways, the worst. Valentina shifted so she could stare at me instead of inanimate objects. What way? You weren't a couple? The laugh sounded bitter, even for me. No, we flirted. We toyed with the idea a dozen years ago. But we realized becoming involved, even if only for a night, would destroy our friendship. Hola, Gabriel. Would destroy our friendship. She thought about what I was saying. This case did so for you. Yes, not by my choice, but I respected her decision. Until you just had to call in a favor. Why would you do that? Because I knew I could trust her with Bella, and she would be the only person you'd feel free leaving your daughter with. The air in the car was heavy. Maybe you're right. Have you tried explaining what you had to do to her? The truth? I wish it was that simple. Somewhere inside, she knows I had no choice. The truth is that while she and others believe judges have the power in their hands to ensure justice is served. Often, our hands are tied. There are times that nothing can be done, no matter how guilty the person or what a decision from a judge could mean. Even though Camille was never... Oops, I fucked up a little bit. From Venezuela. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, my Venezuelan friend. Good mean. Even though Camille was well aware of how the system worked, when a decision was forced, there was no one else in her eyes to blame but the man in the cloak. I headed off the interstate, checking the rearview mirror once again. She knew exactly what I was doing, shifting again and looking behind her at the traffic. You think we're being followed, don't you? No, I don't, but I can't allow that to happen. Now you're scaring me. I'll be honest with you. You should be. That's why I'm here, and will be here as long as you need. Why? You have your life to live. I'm just some girl who walked into your courtroom because she took a shortcut to her car on a rainy night. Camille's obvious pep talk had gotten to her. Instead of being angry with her... Holy crap. Ahoo! Gotten to her. And, oh my god. I forgot my water out there too. I just have to, power through this. Gotten to her. Instead of being angry with her, I needed to face her question head on. Was I just trying to right a wrong from years before? I hadn't been able to save my sister, and I hadn't managed to take away Camille's pain. The ache in my heart increased with every passing second. I do not speak Espanol. I wish. I'm from Montana, very far away from Spanish-speaking areas. Every passing second. Valentina's question also burned in my mind as I slowed, making another turn and slowing down. What struck me was that for the first time in years, I'd allowed myself to feel anything again, other than anger. That had everything to do with Valentina, and nothing to do with the past. First of all, you're not just some girl. And maybe the truth is that I am living, perhaps, for the first time in years. I know, strange timing, right? Well, I can tell you that often I suck with appropriate timing. My admittance seemed to shock her, and I was rewarded with a smile. I'll accept your answer, and right now, your timing is perfect. So, where are you taking me? I sensed she wanted to lighten the conversation, and I was relieved. Well, you see, I have this favorite pizza joint. When I moved here 1,000 years ago, Sal's Pizza became my favorite place. See that building over there? I pointed across the street, and in searching for which building I'd mentioned, she moved closer. Close enough, her incredible perfume painted my nostrils, filling me with another strong sense of desire. So strong, my balls were aching. The building with the strange bluish tint? I laughed easily this time. That's because of all the fucking blah blah blah. That's because of all the neon lights. Back then, the area wasn't considered on the fringes of South Beach. I was able to get an apartment for cheap. On the corner was a little convenience store that had everything I needed. Peanut butter and sardines. Everything a growing boy needs to eat. There was nothing so soulful as the lilt of her laugh. Isn't that part of a Jimmy Buffett song? Hey, everybody has a cousin in Miami. When I shot out a line from one of my favorite pieces from The Entertainer, she placed her hand on my leg, as I'd done with her a few minutes earlier. I'll be damned if my dick wasn't at full attention. If she kept it up, I'd never be able to survive the night. And The pizza? She cooed. As soon as I was successful in finding a spot, fuck. The pizza? She cooed. As soon as I was successful in finding a spot in the crowded parking lot. A treat. That was back when I was a newly minted attorney. When I won a case... I allowed myself 2 slices of pepperoni and extra cheese. When I won a case, I allowed myself 2 slices of pepperoni and an extra cheese pizza, dripping with sauce and grease. That and 2 beers, and I thought I was king for a day. Then I'd played cards all night with a couple buddies of mine. Valentine... Hold on. Yeah. A couple buddies of mine. Valentina unfastened her seatbelt and crowded even closer. Now she was let's say the words. Even closer. Now she shocked me when she gripped my arm, kissing my cheek. The same buddies you play poker with now? Forced to take a deep breath so I didn't ravage her in the car, I allowed a single growl. The same ones. I hadn't really realized how long the 5 of us had been friends. How things changed. And not necessarily for the better. I'll need to meet these special men one day. Just to see how many Jimmy Buffett songs they know. Call it a test. Let me guess. You think you can win. At least her mood had brightened. Then again, so had mine. She had a way of bringing sunshine, even when the clouds threatened to consume the brightest sky. She pressed her index finger into my arm, twirling it as she peered up at me. I could swear she had the same lust in her eyes that I felt deep in my loins. I win at everything. Just test me. Challenge accepted. Just be careful what you ask for, little lady. I play to win. We shall see. Her voice sing-song, she blew me a kiss before easing out onto the pavement. I had to adjust my cock to prevent my zipper from pinching my skin. What in the hell was I going to do with her? Her laughter lingered long after she shut the door, waiting for me to join her. A vibrant vision drifted back and forth in my dangerous mind, every image filthy as sin. This girl was trouble through and through, and I was all for it. Hell yeah. Patricia, welcome. Thank you for liking the live. I didn't see you slip in here. TikTok's been very quiet today. Very quiet. There's a bird at my window going ham right now. Holy, okay. Chapter 21. Valentina. Let's see here. There we go. Valentina. It's been very quiet for a while. I agree. Valentina. Woohoo! My squeal sounded way too happy, considering the circumstances. However, there was no denying I'd enjoyed spending time with him. Hudson hung his head, shaking it as he grumbled under his breath. When he finally admitted that I was the better dart player, I did a little jig in front of him. You're a damn shark. I told you I played to win. I rubbed my folded fingers across my chest and blew on them. Plus, you're a terrible dart player. I am not. You simply cheat. How do you cheat in darts? I didn't like that at all. Simply cheat. How do you cheat in darts? It's all in the hand action. You want some hand action, big boy? If I didn't know better about the big He-Man, I'd say I caught him in a moment of embarrassment. Just to be naughty, I slowly dropped my gaze to his crotch. Holy shit, he was hard as a rock. My heart fluttered as it had done a few times during dinner. He'd been so stoic in court that I would have never guessed how charming he could be. You're really asking me that question? What if I am? I tossed my hair over my shoulder and headed to the dartboard, sauntering by him and teasing him even more by brushing my hands across his chest. Every time he issued a delicious growl, hands across his chest. Every time he issued a delicious growl, which was certainly more often than any man I'd been with, a tiny shudder formed. Without bothering to look at the dartboard, I threw one after the other. I threw one after the other. Damn. Hearing the gruffiness in his voice, or rather the extreme disappointment, allowed a gleeful... Oh, why did I sing that? Gruffy. Damn. Plus, I've been really busy this month with a lot of ALCs. Busy is good, though. Busy is good. Damn. Hearing the gruffness in his voice, or rather the extreme disappointment... Oh my god, we'll try it one more time. Damn. Hearing the gruffness in his voice, or rather the extreme disappointment, allowed a gleeful moment. I spun in a circle after seeing that I'd managed to hit the bullseye 2 out of 3 times. Not too shabby. Maybe I need you on my... Okay. I had 12 from High Gravity, 6 Audio 6 from Tandora Audio, and now I have 2 from Darkstar. That is... You're having quite the collection. You are busy. It is a lot. Not too shabby. Maybe I need you on my team playing poker. Oh, I kill in poker. Then I take that back. I stared at him for a full beat with a wicked smile on my face, just to tease him. Tonight, I'd learned quite a few things about the man looking entirely out of place in a pizza joint that had seen better days. At least he'd removed his suit jacket and had rolled up his sleeves, exposing the tattoos I still longed to trace with my tongue. Try that one more time. And I only have one of those left to do. Well, you're almost there. Ripping through them. Days. At least he'd days. Okay. Days. At least he'd removed his suit jacket and had rolled up his sleeves, exposing the tattoos I still longed to trace with my tongue. With his tie undone, buttons on his shirt unfastened, and a tumbler of whiskey in his hand, he had the appearance of one of those hot guys in liquor commercials seen on Netflix. Ooh, excuse me. A scoozy. Plus, you listened to 8 audiobooks that you wanted to listen to. You are moving through the content. Netflix. Congratulations. Netflix. The only aspect about his appearance was let's try this one more time. Netflix. The only aspect about his appearance that was missing was his hair was too perfect. It needed to be mussed up by fingers. Maybe I'd need to try that. While I knew we were both playing at being carefree, I was grateful we were both amenable, Being carefree? I was grateful we were both amenable to shoving aside the nightmare. Although I'd thought about Camille and what she'd said to me and the way she'd talked about Hudson. She'd considered him her hero, and he failed her. The case he'd mentioned was very personal. While my instincts screamed I knew the reason, as Tim had told me, it was one for him to tell. The hard thump as Hudson slammed his glass on the table's surface made me jump. and by the way his lips twisted, created a crazy desire to kiss them. His eyes narrowed, and he took a long stride toward me, grabbing me around the waist. Another squeal erupted into the pizza joint, but if anyone was bothered by my outburst, not only did I not notice, I didn't care. As he swung me around in a circle, the look on his face was completely carnal. Our laughter slowly faded, as did the music coming from an old jukebox. The chatter, I just powered through that, comma, not a period. 80th audiobook of the year. Golly, that is cruising. Holy guacamole.
Old jukebox.
Okay, by the jukebox, the chatter in the room, and the clanging of utensils in the kitchen. There was no other sound but the wild thumping of our hearts. Slowly, he stopped moving altogether, his gaze lowering, concentrating on the way I was licking my lips. I was constantly nervous around him, and I wasn't certain why. Maybe because he was older. Maybe because he was wiser. Or richer. Or the most handsome man I'd ever met. Or maybe it was simply because he'd made it his mission to protect me against all odds and pure evil. The darkness in his eyes and the furrow of his brow suggested he was prepared to cross a line, and one he could never return from. I wasn't certain how I felt about that. Every time he brushed his knuckles across my face, the explosion of tingles was uncontrollable. I'd never experienced such a... Told you before, I love audiobooks. I believe you.
Controllable.
I believe.
Controllable. I'd never experienced controllable.
I'd never experienced such a rush from being close to a man. It was exciting, and crazy, and breathtaking. He didn't stop there, crushing the weight of his body against mine, his grip on my face more possessive than ever before. The way his eyes darted back and forth across mine as he lowered his head kept me suspended. Nope.
Possessive than ever before.
The way I didn't even read.
Possessive than ever before.
The way his eyes darted back and forth across mine as he lowered his head kept me in suspended animation. I was no longer certain I was even breathing. His lips brushed across mine, and I crunched my fingers around his shirt. With his breath, fiery and hot, and okay, let's not pause weird.
My fingers around his shirt. My fingers around his shirt.
With his breath fiery and hot, and the flutter of my heart, the world simply faded away. As soon as I tilted my head so our lips were pressed together, he made a sudden move, dipping me not once, but twice. The blast of music suddenly broke through the haze of lust. I'd be damned if he wasn't twirling me around, dancing in perfect beat to the rhythm. It was impossible to keep from laughing. Here I thought nothing about him could surprise me. When he dipped me again, he held me suspended. Now, his heated gaze was completely dominating. I kind of liked this side of him, playful, yet controlling. He kept his lips hovering where they were, leaving me exasperated and completely, desperately in need. When he chuckled in his dark and demanding tone, I slipped my fingers through the opening in his shirt. He gripped my hand immediately, pulling it free, before purposely sliding both down his side to his groin. What do you have in mind? I'm like breathless, fuck.
Groin. Groin.
What do you have in mind, big boy? Would it surprise you if I said nothing good? Not even a little bit. His laugh was surprising, and even though his eyes continued registering extreme heat, he pushed me away. When he wagged his finger in front of me, I stomped my foot. You're a bad girl. You still need punishment. We'll take care of that when we return home. Home. He made the words sound so inviting. I took a giant stride away. You told me I was one of the good girls. I was wrong. Now, unless you'd prefer that I punish you in front of all these fine customers, I suggest you finish your wine and we get out of here. Now I can add cheater to the list of reasons to punish you. Party pooper. That's what my buddies call me. Grabbing my wine, I rolled my eyes. I think I'll like this group of guys. Such interesting adventures you've been on together. Ooh, I don't know what a banana is. I don't know what that is. But I've received nothing, I don't think. I can't see it on the streaming service I have brought up. But it did say that you shared the live. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you.
Adventures you've been on together.
You were snooping in my man cave. He used his deep baritone, pretending to be a Neanderthal. I was. Since you tell me very little about yourself, I had to fight fire with fire. Maybe I'll talk to your buddies behind your back. Be careful, little girl. They might like you a little too much. That would lead to acts of uncontrollable violence. He tossed several 20s on the table, arching an eyebrow as if testing me again. Now that I'd love to see. I've been trying to get out because everybody needs to listen to you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. I do enjoy this. These books are good. I like them.
I'd love to see. I'd love to see.
Before I finished the few sips, I dragged my tongue around the rim of the glass. Such a tease. I'll need to take care of that as well. I hope you do. As soon as he led me from the restaurant, his personality switched to the man I'd met the first time, one of control and complete awareness. I'd seen the outline of the gun in his jacket pocket. Whether he'd wanted to talk about the situation at dinner or not, he'd continually scanned the customers as the
Dinner or not.
He'd continually scanned the customers as they'd come and gone. He'd even insisted on a seat where he could see the picture window, allowing for a perfect view of the sidewalk and a portion of the busy street. While I'd always loved the darkness, let's say the line, bruh.
Street. Of the busy street.
While I'd always loved the darkness night brought, tonight was different. There was an eerie feeling, not only from the humidity clinging to my dress or the oppressive dampness in the air, but something more sinister, as if the boogeyman was right around the corner. And not just a storm that could be I added a word.
Around the corner.
And not just a storm that could
Around the corner.
And not just a storm that could be brewing in the horizon. He hurried me to the parking lot, insisting he open my door, peering inside when he did. There was no mistaking when he suddenly disappeared from view. He was checking under the car to see if a bomb had been placed. Even when it appeared he was satisfied, he scanned the parking lot a second time. The silence as he drove to my apartment was yet another unnerving moment. I hated the anxiety keeping us both on edge. I loathed wondering if every shadow held a monster. He obviously felt exactly as I did. His fingers were constantly tapping on the steering wheel, his eyes darting to all 3 mirrors. By the time he found a parking spot more than a block from my apartment building, I'd already shifted to the edge of the seat. After he cut the engine, we sat quietly for a couple of minutes. While I'd been lucky to find a relatively quiet neighborhood, there were still people enjoying the warm night, some walking hand in hand, others holding onto leashes of their dogs. The atmosphere was entirely different after midnight. That's when the criminals walked the street freely like vampires searching for their next meal. Oof. Spring is springing, and I'm going to sneeze.
Next meal.
Carrying mace wasn't a decent enough deterrent. 10 minutes, okay? Hudson wasn't asking if that was enough time. He was telling me it was. That's all I'll need. His hand remained pressed possessively against the small of my back, his body shielding mine, and we remained close to the building as we walked the block. While my apartment was small, the security was decent. I had a separate key for the front door. With only 8 apartments in the building, I certainly knew my neighbors and could sense if there were any issues. I was on the top floor with 2 apartments per floor. He remained peering over the railing as I unlocked my front door. But with one stern look, I knew to just wait inside as he quickly checked to ensure no one was inside or had been. "All clear," he said. Even his voice was entirely different, almost as if revisiting his days in the Marines. "I'll hurry." Except my legs didn't want to move. I was frozen on the spot, and that didn't make any sense. This was my apartment. The same stuffed animals were on the couch as when I'd left the last time. I could see the dishes draining on the rack on the kitchen counter from when I'd hurriedly washed them before leaving. "Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it, and we will see you later."
We're leaving. We're leaving. We're leaving.
My running shoes, for as many times as I'd promised myself I would take up jogging and hadn't, were positioned near the hall closet. Even the stack of mail, mostly dastardly bills, remained on the kitchen table, and the goddamn faucet was
Kitchen table.
And the goddamn faucet the building owner had promised to fix 4 times was still dripping. While the sound had been annoying before, tonight the slow drip was straight out of a horror movie. Even so, everything was so normal. "It's okay," he finally said gently. "I'm not going anywhere." Some sense of relief filled me. At that point, if he tried to leave, I'd be the one chasing him down. I thought about the nope.
The one chasing him down.
I thought the reality of what I was dealing with had hit me before, but for some okay.
The one chasing him down.
I thought about the reality of what I was dealing with. Fuck, again?
The one chasing him down.
I thought the reality of what I was dealing with had hit me before, but for some strange reason, returning to my apartment made everything seem
The one chasing him down.
I thought the reality of what I was dealing with had hit me before, but for some strange reason, returning to my apartment made everything seem sordid and dirty. I found my rhythm, heading into Bella's tiny room first.
Room first.
Joel Corda, the man of the hour.
Room first.
Let's see here.
Room first. Room first.
I grabbed her pink suitcase, haphazardly tossing in her favorite clothes and PJs. Then I shoved some books, a couple of dolls, and another stuffed animal inside. Zipping it closed was an issue, but I managed. With the generosity from my protector, I didn't need as many items, but I wanted a few of my things that had kept me grounded during the horrible nights where sleep had evaded me. My favorite sweatshirt, and my leggings that I'd lived in.
Aided me.
My favorite sweatshirt, and my leggings that I'd lived in for months. My favorite pair of jeans. As I was tossing some lacy underwear into my tried-and-true suitcase I'd had since college, I noticed a single nightie I'd purchased for myself after moving to Miami. Snatching it in my hand,
Miami.
Snatching it in my hand, I had a fever of emotions. The damn piece of lingerie still had a price tag. That's how close I'd come to actually wearing it. Feeling sexy around Bruno had taken a back seat to everything else, including getting him the hell out of my life. Why not? With an evil smile on my face, I tossed it into the suitcase. Now for a few toiletries, and I'd managed to make it in just under 10 minutes. Toothpaste? Check. Makeup? Check. Deodorant? Check. The sudden prickle of goosebumps caught me off guard. I even looked over my shoulder to see if Hudson was standing in the doorway, telling me time was up. He wasn't there. With a cold chill creating tension, I moved closer to the I put a D in tiny, cool.
He wasn't there.
With a cold chill creating tension, I moved closer to the tiny window in the bathroom, holding my breath as I peered outside. What? No. There was no way. I had to be seeing things. Backing away, I counted to 10, and while the trickle of fear remained, I was now angry. Furious that the motherfucker believed it was his right to torment the hell out of me when he was the one who murdered someone in cold blood. I rushed into the bedroom where the view was better. I hadn't been wrong. A figure stood under the streetlight, staring up at the building. And I could swear that not only was the bastard watching, he was smiling. Oh, hell no. Without saying a word, I fled into the living room, trying to control my nerves as I pointed down the hallway. The monster is outside. What? Hudson snarled, immediately bristling. He's standing outside under the streetlight, just like he did before. Come, look, please. You need to know I'm not crazy. With his jaw clenched, he took long, pounding strides into the bedroom and to the window. I could tell in 2 seconds he was seeing no one. Don't tell me he's not there. Where was he, Valentina? I moved back beside him at the window. Right there, under the light. Okay, listen to me. Stay right here. I'm going to check it out. He moved quickly back to the front of the apartment. Lock the door behind me. Don't go. I don't want you to leave. I'm afraid something will happen to you. The way he looked at me, as if no one in his life had ever worried about him. I'll be fine. I took a step closer, and that same feeling boiled over me. A terrible premonition that something tragic was about to occur. With my heart racing, I peered at the cabinet under the sink. It was ajar. That wouldn't necessarily mean anything, except I had safety latches on several of them since my bound and determined little girl was very curious about everything. The one ajar definitely had a safety latch. It was where I kept all my cleaning supplies. With careful steps, I inched closer, every inch of me shaking. As soon as I curled my fingers around the top edge, a tiny moan escaped, but I found the courage to swing the door open. Hudson, I whispered, tears immediately forming. What? Come here, please. The terror was exposed in my voice. He had no clue what I was concerned about when he moved beside me. What? His voice dipped to little more than a husky whisper. All I could do was point. The red digital numbers were all I could see. His fingers wrapped around my arms, and he pulled me back by several feet. Now I was shaking so badly I could no longer feel my legs. Listen to me, he said, his voice commanding and comforting. Huh? Listen to me. The tone was more demanding. I lifted my gaze, blinking several times. Yes? Get out of the building, now. That's a bomb. There's not much time.
There are neighbors. I have neighbors.
Every inch of me was shaking. I'll alert them. Now do as I say. Get out now. Go across the street. Do you understand me?
His tone was more insistent. Uh-huh. I think I do. Yes, I do.
Go, now. I'll be right behind you. Don't stop. Not for anything. I sprinted out the door, immediately rushing to one across from me, pounding with all the rage that I'd stored deep inside. I couldn't leave everyone to die. That wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Andrew, get out! Get out now! My scream was louder than I'd expected. He flung open the door. Val? What the hell? What's going on?
There's a bomb in my apartment. I don't have to explain.
I didn't give him time to answer, spinning and grabbing the handle for the railing. Hudson appeared behind me. You heard the lady. Get the fuck out. Go, both of you. Thank God Andrew heeded the warning, grabbing something and rushing down the stairs. I flew down after him, thinking Hudson was following. Everything was a huge blur as I pounded and screamed. Within seconds, terror created chaos. I said that weird.
So weird, so very weird.
And screamed.
Within seconds, terror created chaos. My neighbors running, a dog barking. Everyone, get out! Go as far as you can. Hudson's voice. I said that weird.
You can.
Hudson's voice boomed above the horrific din as panic began to settle in. While my body was moving, working through the terror, my mind was frozen, incapable of comprehending why this was happening. I rushed down to another floor, pounding on one door. Jackie, get your puppy and get out! There's a bomb in the building! Out! 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 Hudson bellowed. Call 911. Jackie's puppy tripped me as he.
Call 911.
What's up, scaredy cat?
Call 911.
Jackie's puppy tripped me as he came running out. Down I went on my hands and knees, the pain jarring. As soon as I managed to stand, I hugged the wall, shifting my gaze back and forth across the melee in search of Hudson. Where'd he gone? No. Oh God, please. Pushing away, I descended another floor, glancing all around me. Frantic, terrified. The bastard had done this. He wanted me dead. Come on, Valentina, one of my neighbors called, breaking my slight trance. Yes, okay. I called to him in my mind, gasping for air as I suddenly felt a stifling sense of suffocation. I caught a glimpse of Hudson and almost called out to him. My voice was scratchy, barely any sound registering. Suddenly, the stairwell became crowded, and I lost sight of Hudson. I pushed people aside and trying desperately to catch a glimpse of him. He was nowhere. Hudson! Hudson! There was no way my screams could be heard above the shouts and wails. Suddenly, I was pushed by a group of people out the front door onto the sidewalk. My heart thudding, I glanced from side to side, praying to God I just hadn't seen him.
I just hadn't seen him.
In my mind was the tick, tick, tick of the clock. Seconds later, he appeared on the landing, searching for me as he trotted down the stairs. No! Jackie screamed as she rushed by. My baby! My baby! I caught her arm just as I noticed the golden retriever puppy rushed back into the building. You can't go in there, I shouted, holding her arm and preventing her from getting free. The building is gonna blow any second. That's my goddamn baby! I'm going to get him! She jerked her arm free, instantly stopped by Hudson. Whatever he'd said to her,
She nodded and tumbled backward.
Whatever he said to her.
She nodded and tumbled backward. Then I watched in horror as he disappeared inside the building. No, no, no! Don't, Andrew barked, blocking me from racing toward the building. Let him get the dog. You don't understand. I backed away, shaking like a leaf. My neighbors all backed away, leaving me standing by myself. Another eerie feeling. Another tingle of icy water. I turned my head. There the bastard stood under another streetlight, watching, waiting. My instinct was to run after him. Just before I did, I heard a strange poof, then boom.
Boom.
The power of the explosion tossed me halfway into the street. I pitched and rolled, coming to a stop. Every inch of my body ached, and I tried to open my eyes. My foot's numb. Come on, foot. Get it together. Oof.
Coming to a stop. Every inch of coming to a stop.
Every inch of my body ached, and as I tried to open my eyes, every sound around me echoed. Screams, the wail of sirens, the gasps coming from everywhere. Using both hands, I pushed them against the vehicle, using the leverage to allow me to stand. As soon as I did, tears began to stream down my face. The building was engulfed in flames. Another scream cut through the horrific sounds, one full of shock and despair. It took me a few seconds to realize I was the one screaming. Embers created fireworks in the sky, falling ever so slowly to the ground below. Debris floated through the air, shoes and clothes, pictures and papers. Lives torn apart, prized possessions lost to the madness. Smoke and flames rushed toward the heavens as if offering a sacrifice. All around me the noise and horror continued. But I was lost in the ugliness that Hudson was gone. He was gone. Hudson. Falling over. Falling ever so slowly to my knees, I covered my face with my hands. The swelter of heat pulsated through me, images of his face filtering into my fractured mind, one after another, and his voice chimed in my ears. Nothing was real. Val, a voice said, and I felt a weight on my shoulder. Val, look!
Look!
Andrew's encouraging voice allowed me to lift my head, and a scream from Jackie announced what I wasn't certain was possible to be seeing. You saved my baby! You're my hero! His face and body covered in soot, his face and clothes charred, Hudson walked further away from the debris with the golden puppy in his arms, just as rain began to fall. Hell yeah, dude, we fucking killed it today. We'll be back next time. Man, my streams are getting showed to nobody lately. I don't understand what the dealio is. But it is what it is, and I ain't going to worry about it. How long do we go for today? Hour and 9 minutes. Starting with chapter 22, Minyana. I will see y'all